This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright and beautiful soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. It's another beautiful spring day, and I had the most amazing morning. Woke up early, watched the sunrise, had some delicious coffee, met someone for breakfast, spent a lot of time outside, just in good company, enjoying nature. What more can a person ask for, honestly? So grateful. And I wanted to talk to you today about some of the things that have just been dropping in. And with these podcast topics, they just drop in for me. And then the content builds from there. So sometimes I have to sit with it, not understanding where exactly it's going. So I don't really structure these very well. I'm just sharing what I'm getting. And you all are so sweet about it, so I really appreciate it. But the reason I wanted to bring this up today, well, because it came in, but oftentimes people focus on all the things that they can't do. And there's sort of been this build with these podcast topics. So if you focus your energy on the things that you can't do, you become almost trapped. So because you can't move, like if you feel like you can't do anything, then people tend to do nothing instead of focusing on what you can do and put your energy there and build upon that. And this is in all areas of life. So for example, what can you do today to seek out peace? That's something really easy. So let's just say that I had a doozy of a week last week. I don't know what was going on, the energy, but it was so busy and there was so much pull on me personally. And I don't know what the deal was, but work was just, people were just talking and it was so many meetings and just a day full of listening to people talk, or just meetings after meetings. I mean, with no breaks, we'd be going on, 7 hours of no break meetings. And I mean that quite literally, no breaks, like back-to-back meetings. And just all that chatter, that mental chatter and feeling just stuck, in one spot listening. There's only so much you can absorb before it just starts to wear you down, right? And I had a week like that. And then when I would get off work, my phone would be ringing. And then there'd be someone else that just wanted to talk to me. And it wasn't short conversations. It was like hours. And I thought, oh my Lord, I'm happy to give up the ghost right now. What I wouldn't give for some silence, some freaking silence, And so in those moments, I had to really just go in because I can't stop the meetings, but what I can do is start focusing on my breathing, going inside, noticing how my body is responding to the situation and doing what's in my power to slow that down and calm my parasympathetic nervous system down. Isn't that how you say it? Parasympathetic? I'm pretty sure. Yes, I actually paused this and looked it up. It is parasympathetic. Anyway, that's your fight or flight, your rest or digest, right? Or your rest and digest part of your body that lets you know when you're in danger. And so when I would feel my anxiety rising, I would say, wait a minute, it's really not even anxiety, just irritation. I'd say, okay, let me breathe into this. And how can I get out of this? In a sense of how I'm feeling in the moment. What can I do? And the other thing was that, I don't know, someone just wanted to talk to me so much and then they would like spill into my bedtime, and it was like one of those people that I can't interject and get off the phone. So then I had to practice really good boundaries and just say, well, listen, I'm exhausted and either we can hang up or you can listen to me breathe while I'm sleeping because I'm going to fall asleep. I am exhausted. So I had to start doing these boundaries. And one of the things that I did for myself last year is I set my phone to do not disturb an hour before bedtime. And so my notifications automatically turn off so that I can then take that hour to do whatever I want to do to take really good care of myself and prepare for bed. So it doesn't work if I'm already on the phone, which was one of the situations that happened last week. So in any case, what I'm telling you is that even in those situations, what you can do instead of focusing on, good Lord, if you're listening to me right now, if you'd like to take me now, go ahead and take me because I am done. At least that's the kind of conversations I have internally. Like, sweet Lord, have mercy, help me. I need to get out of this. This is exhausting. But here's the other thing the reason I wanted to mention that is because if you are a person in this light, and I know you are because you're listening to this podcast, with all of this weirdness going on and these shifts and people are finding out truths that they defended a position and now they're finding out they were wrong. And then the people that were on the other side that were just being loving and standing in that light, that they were mean and trying to push. Now they're realizing, oh crap, I was wrong all along. But instead of, sorry if the word crap offends you, let's not look for occasions to be offended. Okay, sorry. So instead of saying, oh shoot, I was wrong about that, I am so sorry, and coming clean, instead they're trying to like cling to that person or blow over, and without realizing that they're subconsciously attracted to the people in the light and consequently draining the people in the light. So there's this strange thing that's going on. And so the heat's being turned up. And one of the most important things you can do right now is to continue with your practices. And for me, when these things happen, when people start grabbing at me, because it's usually in rounds, I call it in rounds. So I'm like, oh, here comes the amplification, because it's not usually a trickle in. It's usually like in these big clumps of people and energy at once. So I know that there's an upgrade happening, and it's either personally or it's in the world or both. And I think right now it's both, because I actually have a master number. If you ever studied numerology, whatever's going on in the world energetically, whatever that number is, I have the world's number. So I've got a master number. So whatever's going on in the collective, I get a double dose of it because I'm here to help shift this world. But I don't particularly care for that. I wish that wasn't the case. But it doesn't matter. My soul had other plans. Our soul knew better than our personality, our ego. It gets hard for all of us. And I'm hearing a lot of people really feeling at the end of their rope. And I'm getting a lot of people reaching out, and they're really stuck in victim and lack and what they can't do. And I know, because I have been there. So this isn't a judgment. I understand. But we're all feeling like that to one degree or the other. So what I have been doing is like, okay, so what can I do in this moment to lift my spirit? One of the things I did in my office, on the wall that I face at work, I put a really beautiful, and this was guided because it's not even my style. It looks nothing like anything else in my house. I put a beautiful, they're cloth. What are those things called? Tapestry? Anyway, it's huge. It almost covers my whole wall. And it's like of a forest. And it kind of looks like a magical forest. And it's funny because it's not my style, but I was guided to get it, which is crazy. And even when I was getting it, I thought, this isn't even my style. Like, my house doesn't look like this. This is not me. But I actually made a little frame for it. And then I put lights behind it. And they're like twinkling fairy lights. So if I'm stuck on a meeting, and like I shared earlier in the year, I got a walking pad, which is like a treadmill without the handle so that I can walk. And then I have this awesome magical forest looking thing, and I can turn the lights on and I can look at it, and it brings me instant peace. And I've put my office, made the aesthetics and the setup in a way that brings me an enormous peace. I run a diffuser every day, and I usually put lavender oil in it. Sometimes I'll put orange oil in it. So I have that. And then sometimes I just have to, in order to be mindful and just to remind myself that I'm here, all is well. This is such a temporary thing, and it's so minor in the grand scheme of things. It can be like, you know what? I'm really grateful it's spring, and my trees are blooming, the grass is blooming, I can hear the birds chirping, the sky is beautiful, and I can give myself little things to do, like, let me look around and see if I can find a ladybug. Let me look around outside while I'm in the meeting, or if I'm outside, whatever. But I give myself little things to do to bring myself into the present moment and to relax. And the same is true I was having a conversation today, like after breakfast, we're just sitting outside, about not watching the news, because there's certain things that get you wound up and then you can't control it. So what I can do is turn that off. I actually turned my cable box in, turned my cable off. I was paying for it for certain things. I liked the music choice option, and then I thought, that's ridiculous. I can turn on YouTube and listen to 432 hertz music. I can listen to music on Pandora or Spotify. Why am I keeping this thing? And there were a couple of shows that I would watch occasionally, but I just have not really been watching TV much at all. And I thought, why am I even feeding this beast of this monster of this thing? So I got rid of it. And I'm not going to watch the news, and I'm not going to listen to the news, except for the outlets that I choose that I feel are more neutral and they're not being paid off. And I want to know what's going on in the world, but I want to have an accurate perception of what's going on in the world. And I'm giving you examples of areas that I've shifted just to see if you can apply it in your own and see if it inspires you to make similar shifts. So I was having another conversation with someone who was telling me how he hasn't been at the gym because he had a shoulder cuff injury. And injuries are awful. They can happen to anyone, and it's so frustrating, and my heart goes out to anyone who's had an injury. I mean, if you all remember, I had the knee thing, and it was so frustrating because I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do for about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And it was really frustrating. But you know what I did do? I focused on what I could do. So I still went to the gym, and I lifted weights with my arms, and I did everything but that knee. So I went around it. So even in those instances, it's like there's always something you can do. And you have to then get really good at focusing on what can I do and then do that thing, because action cures despair. One of the ways to move your energy is to actually take action and move around. One of the things that happens is when people get paralyzed in what they can't do, they make it so big because they just sit and meditate and focus and think about what they can't do. So I don't want to harp on this. I feel like I say that every week. I feel like every week I get on here and go, I don't want to harp on this. So I'm not going to harp on the fact that I don't want to harp on this. I just want to encourage you to focus on what you can do. There is a lot of things you can do. Like you can listen to this podcast. You can focus on your breathing. You can receive an energy healing. You can move around a little bit. All kinds of things you can do. You can choose what you focus on. You can choose what you think. So much choice that we have in this abundant world. The world is actually super abundant. It's just, where do we choose to put our attention on, and what do we choose to see? And so let's go into a healing, and you can uncross your arms and legs, and I will turn on the energy healing. Okay, you can come back into your body. And I wanted to ask you all, are there certain things that you would like me to do healings on, or topics, and not things that just you're personally dealing with, because those are instances where you need a private session. And I understand that you'd be personally dealing with it. Otherwise, you wouldn't want a healing. I understand that. But what I mean is like not something that's so specific that it's not suitable for a general healing. Now, I'm really good at determining that once you give me the suggestions. But I wanted to ask you all, because you're my people, and if you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. I'm here to help. So that is all I wanted to offer today. And I want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.